Welcome to the channel. I'm Stacy, and my goal here is to help you to play better and sound better in your worship services. Today, I'm excited to share with you two new MIDI controllers. Daniel over at Judas reached out to me on Instagram and asked if I'd be interested in trying out their new products, and this being the year of trying new things, I said yes. He sent me two controllers. One of them is their Kedem 4, which is a 4-switch controller. The other is the Kedem 6. And that's the one I've got set up. I've got it all dialed in for my Easter services, and so I'm going to walk you through how I set that up, and then some of my favorite features that I've discovered so far in the short time I've had it. Both units have the same user-friendly LCD touchscreen. They're real easy to dial in, and one thing I love about it is that you set stuff up at home, and if you get to your service and something just needs to be adjusted, I'm using this for my reverb and delay. So if something just isn't quite as I thought it would be in the mix, it's easy enough to just get down and fix it on the fly. I'm going to walk you through how I have mine set up, how easy it is to set up the programs, how easy it is to copy the program so you're not having to start everything from scratch, and then a couple of my favorite features. So the way I have mine set up is foot switch A is set up for like a super swell. I call it MASH, and that's just a real high mix, high decay on the reverb, high mix, high repeat on the delay. Foot switch B is telling the Revelation and Eternity specifically what algorithm to use and then what to do with the toggle. So on the Revelation, it's millisecond delay, and then on the Eternity, it's subdivisions. And then foot switch C is set up as a universal tap. I'm using foot switch D's E and F for snapshot 1, 2, and 3, and that covers what I need for most songs. By adding MASH, it gave me an extra setup that I can use on songs where we don't come in until verse 2 or second chorus. Foot switches D and E are set up to bank down, and E and F are set up to bank up. If you need a bit more versatility than that, one of the things that I would say is a favorite of mine is that you have the option of press, double press, long press, and a long double press for every switch. So for D, E, and F, for most songs, I'm setting up a press and a double press. And on the double press, all I'm doing is increasing the decay on the reverb and the mix on the delay for each one. So however I have it set up for my original tones, I'm just increasing the decay and the mix just to give me something a little bit different if I needed it in a moment. Since the touchscreen is the same for both units, the programming is the same. The only difference is if we go back, here we have 3 blocks on the bottom, 3 blocks on the top. On the Kedem 4, you're going to have 2 blocks on the bottom, 2 blocks on the top. But programming is very simple. You just figure out which action you want to program. We'll go to press. And I already have this one loaded. What you do is you just tap the bar, and then it brings you to this screen. This is where you pick whether it's a program change, control change, note, relay. I'm not sure how some of those things work, but I know I need control change. So on the channel, you can either put the number or you're able to add the pedal to your unit. And so this one's set up with the Revelation. And all that does is it makes it to where when I'm in the editing mode, I can see that it's Revelation. Otherwise, it would just be the number that is assigned to that pedal for its MIDI channel. So you just come in, add the control change number, and then the value. And I saw recently that you have this option here too, where you can add a dynamic shift. The Revelation and Eternity already have built-in kind of a decay that goes from a high mix to a low mix, and it's natural enough for me. But if I wanted it to be different, I can increase the amount of time it takes. Right here on the time, I can add it to where it's like a 3-second change from high mix to a low mix. But I'm happy with what it does, so I'm leaving that. I'll go ahead and turn that off. And then, let's see, we'll go back. And so that's how you do it. The Revelation and Eternity both have 4 different parameters that I control on D, E, and F. And that's the mix, decay, filter, and control on the Revelation, and the mix, repeat, filter, and control on the Eternity. Once you've got everything set up in here the way you want it, you hit save. And then if you hit the save again, it's just going to save it. It's going to save the changes you made to that switch in that bank. What you can also do is hit save, and then right here is where you're able to copy each setup. So I can save it to bank 6 if I like, and then I can save it to foot switch E, foot switch F, We can switch it, save it to AB. That's another great thing about this controller is that every 2 switches is programmable. So A and B, B and C, A and D, B and E, C and F, and we'll go through that. So we have A and B. I could save that setup to that. AC, AD, AE, so even going across this way. AF, across this way. BC, BD. So as you can see, it's not even just where your foot could naturally land, but you can stretch it with your hands or put the buttons on it to where you can easily access switches that are across from each other. So when I originally set mine up, I set up my snapshot 1. I set it up on press. I added all the control change numbers that I needed. I added the values that I needed, and then I hit save, and I just saved D, E, and F, E, and then F. And then when I was done getting that one set up, then I went through and saved these to the next bank so that I had at least a starting point for dialing the tones for that song. So in setting up the songs for a set list, I needed to set my tempo up for each song. They're all obviously all different. And so the way you do that is you go into bank, and then here I have the songs that I've got programmed in here saved. And then this one's I know a name. So I'm just going to tap on the gear next to that. You come down and you hit bank tempo toggle, hit that on, and then you add your BPM. And right here is also where you can name that. If I go to bank 9 and I tap it there, and I come down here to bank 9, I'll edit, you see it says bank 9, and you just hit the delete button, back it out. And then I like to run these things in all caps. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be, and it's easier to see the slightly bigger letter from standing up. And then I'll just put song title. Just type in the word song, hit save. Here's where we do the bank tempo toggle. And let's see, we got a common one, 74 BPM. All right, and so now that one is set up as song. It's set up at 74 BPM. We're going to see it right there. And then if I bank down, we went to Goodbye Yesterday, which is at 150. Trust in God, which is 74. These were my Easter songs. And then I Know a Name. I'll hit the B button, and this is what I do in going into a new bank. I hit B right away. That tells the Revelation and Eternity what algorithms to use, and then, like I said, what to do with the toggle. And then I've got these 3 set up to tell it specifically what to do when I hit those buttons. Now, the reason I had to do that is the Revelation and Eternity, when you have the algorithm control change set up on each switch, it doesn't maintain trails, so it cuts into like you're setting up a new effect, even though it's the same algorithm. So by doing it this way, I get seamless transitions going through all of my presets. Now I want to walk you through how I have the universal switches set up. I have C set up for tap tempo, so you just hit the block next to that button and hit, let's see, I'm going to hit double just so you can see how we get into setting that up. So at this point, we would hit MIDI. This is where it goes naturally. We're going to hit MIDI, and then we hit device. And here's where we would be doing our tap tempo. Now, since we have tap set up already on press, it doesn't let us do that, but this is where we would set it up. You'd hit tap, and then you click global switch on. Hit save, and now that's set up for tap. Go back out. So now that you've done that, you don't have to do this again. Tap tempo is going to be effective on every bank. The only thing you will have to do if you want is to change the color of that block, which I have set up with the red. And then the word, you just hit the edit button, and I think it starts with untitled. You just hit the delete, back it out, and then type in what you would like to have there. I have tap, and then I also do that on each bank that I set up. The other universal setting that I use is D and E for bank down, and you do that by going in. I'm just hitting the D button to get me into edit, and then you can tap the letter up here right next to the number. So we have 06 is our bank. D is the switch that I just clicked to edit. But if you tap on D, then you see all the combinations that we have. So I'm going to go to D and E, and that is right here. And then this has the same thing where you go in and it's got all the spots for your control or your program changes. And then you can hit MIDI on the side. And then you hit Devices. And then you just select Bank Down and it's global. And then if we come over here to E and F, go right here, you see it's Bank Up and also set to global. Just a quick disclaimer, I didn't pay for the pedals. They were sent to me for free, but I wasn't told what to say or to say anything at all. I wasn't told to produce any videos. I'm just sharing with you my own experiences with something, and it's a pedal that I really do like, and I'm going to hang on to it. If you're interested in one of these, you can click the link in the description box below and use that code down there for $20 off your total order. I think they're doing pre-orders, but you'll want to check that link just to make sure. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, subscribe and hit that like button for good measure. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.